Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Republic of Players podcast. We had some technical difficulties, but we're here. We're ready to rock, and we haven't done
My
this in a
internet.
while. I forget how to actually podcast at this stage. It's been that long, but I got new headphones and I can hear everyone just perfectly. So I think that's a little bit of a positive. We are going to get kicked off. We have Aidan. How are you doing, Aidan?
Great. It's been a great week.
And Mr. John Fogarty. How are you doing, John?
How are you getting down? I was watching a cracker of a football match there, Ronan. Were you watching it?
No, I wasn't, John. I don't know what you're talking about. There's always them times when the Champions League is on. I'm like, I'd love to just be able to watch this, but the podcast needs to go. And with this match, I was like, no, I'm out of here.
Thank God.
I was like, thank God there's something dragging me away from this mental breakdown of a game. Yeah, they're not doing so well lately, but I think it's ingrained in them now. So I'm not going to get negative. I'm just going to ride the wave or whatever you want to call it, and hopefully we can start picking things up. But
need a strong rebuild.
Yeah, and for our owners to actually care about the club. But look, that's another podcast. We might start a sports podcast in the near future. We're talking about video games. My name is Ronan Fox. I haven't introduced myself, but I'm sure everybody knows me at this stage. We have some news to get through. Some big news hit today, and Xbox, Microsoft have leaked a lot of information, and we're going to go through that information and let the good folks know exactly what has been leaked. So, Aidan, do you want to kick off with the first piece of leakage that's been happening over at Microsoft?
So yeah, it looks like first of all they are working on the mid-cycle refresh for the Series X and S. Yep. It's internally known as Brooklyn. It's expected in November. Though I assume that was November 2024. And it's going to look cylindrical. And every time I hear that, I'm like, is this going to look like those terrible trash can Mac Pros? Do you remember those?
Mac Pros. Oh yes, I do remember them. Yeah.
I'm like, this is not the design they need to be stealing from. I actually really like the look of the Series X. It's very utilitarian. It stacks in boxes very well.
It's far better design than the monstrosity that is the PS5. I will give it that. And I own a PS5 and not an Xbox.
I know, because of Brian, I now think of consoles and how they fit in boxes for carrying to tournaments.
True.
Yeah. So I'm like, I think cylinders a terrible idea. But it will offer 2 terabytes of storage, and that's a really nice thing now.
Yeah, 500 gig is just not doing it anymore for me on the PlayStation.
No.
Like I'm deleting the game every time I want to install a new one, which is because then you have them moments where you want to play another game or play an older game. Like Elden Ring is a game that I'd always have installed, and I mean I had to delete that recently because I wanted to. Yeah, and it doesn't even sound that much, but when you have all your content, saved up and clips and everything else that goes onto it, 500 gig is very small. So I am getting an M.2 drive for the PS5. That's going to be the next upgrade that I get for the system here.
My housemate put a 2 terabyte drive in it, and it's like he says it's changed his life.
Yeah. It's just the fact that you can have all those little games that you mightn't play a lot, but nice to have them installed. That if somebody comes over, you might have a nice 2-player game or couch co-op stuff like that is always nice to have installed.
Yeah.
Also very important for people like myself that have awful internet who need to have the stuff. You can't just download it whenever you want.
Yeah,
you need to have it ready to go.
I love Fiverr. I got Fiverr. It's so good.
Yeah.
How has it changed your life, Aidan?
Updates are no longer a scary thing. I had I think 54 games to be updated on my Series X, and I put them done, and they were done in one night. And I was like, I never have to look at that big number again. Everything's on auto update now.
Yeah, no, it's a big deal.
When an update hits Destiny, I don't have to wait till 8 o'clock in the evening to play it. I can play it whenever it happens.
Awesome. Well, I'm happy for you because it's something big. Hopefully, John, it comes to your area soon enough. You deserve it at this stage.
Come in 2026, probably.
And as John noticed, I'm going to start streaming.
Nice.
Oh, I did. It came up. It popped up. It came up. It came up as test, but came up in the streaming on my phone. So I was like, let's see what he's up to.
Yeah,
Was it YouTube, Twitch?
Twitch.
Nice. I'll definitely be checking that out. What are you going to be streaming? Destiny?
Bit of Destiny. Probably going to play quite a lot of card games.
Nice.
Those are the main two.
Let's
Yeah.
I'm going to follow that up, but let's continue on with the leaks here from Microsoft. So new console.
Yes.
Well, new updated version of the Series X and S, and a new controller seems to be coming down the line as well. Precision
It's the
haptic
exciting one
feedback.
for me.
Quiet buttons, which is a big one for Xbox because I like the controller, but the buttons are exceptionally loud on the Xbox controller. And lift to wake capabilities.
Yeah.
So it's gonna go asleep when it's down, and that's good.
The console will do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Console will wake
brilliant.
when you lift the controller up.
I see the next piece of news is Microsoft is eyeing 2028 for.
I'm sorry to stop you, Ronan. You missed the most important piece of information.
Go for it.
Rechargeable batteries.
Where is rechargeable
Oh,
batteries?
yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, rechargeable and swappable batteries.
Swappable batteries. Sorry, I see it. That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's this. I'm going to buy one of the controllers. I might not upgrade the console, but I'm buying one of these controllers.
I will buy one of these controllers for
Yeah,
the PC, possibly.
It's mad it took this long because, like, for me, even I have the Xbox Series X there, and like when it runs out of batteries, like I generally always have it plugged in. Do you know what I mean? Like I always have that silly cord attached to my console because I'm like, I'm not picking up a new pack of batteries yet. Are you joking? So and I know you can buy rechargeable batteries. I just haven't got down that route yet because the cord is there. But it's lovely. It's a lovely addition.
The Duracell deal must be over then.
Yeah.
Was there actually a Duracell?
Was there a deal?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they had
there
a
you go.
contract with Duracell. It's the reason they didn't put rechargeable batteries.
That makes sense.
That's why every Xbox controller came with 2 Duracell batteries.
Wow.
Oh yeah, mine actually did. Now that I think of it, it actually did. Yeah.
Sponsored by Duracell. What's next on the list?
Yeah, so the next Xbox, the I don't know what Series 360.
Oh my god!
Maybe, I don't know.
Hopefully, it's better marketed a name than the one they've brought out. The last two have been a bit of a disaster in terms of naming.
I still think the Xbox One is the funniest mishap of all time. They were like, oh, they called it the 360. They'll definitely call this one the One. Nope, everyone called it the Xbone.
Yeah.
It was, but I think that one, it got away with it, the Xbox One, but the next one that came out, like, I think parents were still buying the older one thinking they were getting the newer one, and it was a bit of a disaster. So hopefully
I think Series X is the worst name for like a console that's ever existed. It doesn't. I don't understand why, but yeah, they're planning 2028 for the next one.
It's a bit buzzwordy for me. Series X, Series S. Just they need to really think about the naming of the next one. So I think this is interesting, not just because we're getting a new console, but and I'd be one to put my hand up here and say this. I didn't think we'd get another Xbox console because of the concentration that they're, the care and consideration they're putting into the Game Pass and the amount of studios that they're buying up, the amount of games that are going on. That I don't know, like, is console gaming going to be a thing of the past, but maybe just not in the next 5 years, maybe 10 years.
I think we're still in the generation that games as an industry gets a massive buzz when a new console comes, and I think that's too valuable to lose just yet.
It's definitely slipping off a little bit, is it? Do you think the buzz of a new console?
If it's slip,
go on, John.
I think
what I'd say is on the whole console side of it, where it's our consoles things of the past. Another big piece of news when you're talking about younger gamers, 10-year-old, even up to 18-year-olds, like the very young generation, a lot of them are into mobile gaming, and the new new iPhone 15, the new one that came out. One of the things they're touting is that it can play like PS4 level games. They can play like Assassin's Creed. They can play these types of games now on their phones. So we think, Jesus, sure, our fingers won't be able for that. The young generation they'll have no problem playing those types of games on phones. So I think that's something to definitely watch out for when those phones start getting those capabilities. You could see the Xbox phone, you could see stuff like that. I'm just saying right now.
I think that's a great point, John, because even thinking of my kids, like, they don't care whether they're on the PC, the PS5, the PS4, the Switch. They don't care what they're playing, and they never turn around and say, oh, I'm going to play PlayStation 5 today. It's just literally, I want a game. What game am I going to play? Fortnite. I can play it on anything, so it doesn't matter. Like, once there's a spare console or a spare PC in the house, they're just going to jump on. And I think it's interesting about the whole phone gaming thing is literally, you know, my middle child, Logan, he's gaming on the phone most of the time. Like, he prefers, and he'll say to me, can I have your phone to game the likes of Roadblocks and the likes of those games that he just gets more fun out of than jumping on a console and sitting in front of the TV. So I think that's a great point, to be honest.
I don't even think it's that much of a jump, because like when you think about it, the Tegra X1, the Switch chip, is like 8 years old. So they've had these chips like that can do really quite good performance on the mobile for a long time. I think John's right. I think now that Apple's focusing on it, actual like proper gaming performance on the phone will probably be a really big deal.
I think
it's one of those weird things in getting phones. Things are just never really an important issue with most people until Apple decides they want to focus on it.
Yeah. And also, I think we need to look at, like, Apple, what they need to do is they need to create games that are not these predatorial, give me all your money games. Like, if they start creating some, you know, maybe some single-player adventure games, and I know there is those games there, but they're not highly marketed, like the
Apple Arcade is great.
Give me all your money. Apple Arcade.
Apple Arcade is actually great. I will defend Apple Arcade. They have some really nice, no microtransactions games on Apple Arcade. It has a Taiko no Tatsujin game that I really, really like. There's a game by the original Final Fantasy developer, Fantasian, I think it was called, came out on Apple Arcade. That stuff's really good, and like for $5 a month, I think it's great. It's one of the services that I think is quite good. Awesome. I'm not an Apple person at all. As a company, I think they're pretty crap, but I have an iPad and there's some good games on it.
Yeah, they're just a corporate company. They like to make money, and they make pretty decent phones, definitely overpriced through the teeth, but I mean, they work. I have an iPhone 11. I'm not going to buy an iPhone 15 because, I mean, it does the exact same thing and exactly what I wanted to do. If I want to play games, I'll just jump on a console. But again, they're not marketing to me. They're marketing to the phone people out there that buy the newest piece of technology that comes out every, you know, especially with phones. Like I'm like that with PCs and gaming consoles, but I'm not like that with phones because at the end of the day, what is it? It's a computer in your pocket. So I'd prefer to put some money into the PC or buy a new console.
Every time I get a phone, it's like, what Chinese phone is between 300 and 350 euro?
My brother does the same thing as well.
Yeah.
And the phones that he showed me are unbelievable. Like, you know, great camera.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It can call people like most phones. What else do you want?
Yeah. But I will say,
calling people is like such a small part of phones these days.
I know.
Like, it's about people who like don't make phone calls on phones anymore.
It's text message, WhatsApp. Actually, don't even use SMS anymore.
I almost never send. I use text messages for like getting logins for work, and that's about it.
Next piece of news is an interesting one. Another leak that came. So, in an email to Microsoft executives, Chris Koppesella and Takeshi Nomoto sent in 2020, Spencer called Nintendo the prime asset for us in gaming. So there was talk in these leaks about, well, that was an older piece of news, but there has been more news in terms of Microsoft have their eyes on Nintendo and also Valve, which, would this ever happen? Because I don't think any of those companies are for sale.
Valve is impossible because it's privately owned, and Gabe Newell has said many times, doesn't really matter what money would give, Valve's not for sale.
Yeah.
Nintendo is different. Like, you could probably make a case that you could very slyly buy stock in Nintendo, but you have to not be noticed by the Japanese government, because if they notice, they're going to stop it.
Yeah,
they heavily control losing very Japanese eccentric brands to American companies and other companies is just something the Japanese government really tries to avoid happening.
Wasn't that the same story with Tetris and the Russians not wanting to lose stocks to the government, or is that just
that was more Cold War stuff?
True.
Yeah,
but
it's not the first time they've kind of been linked. Sure, back in the day, wasn't it only a few years ago where it came out that they were trying to get Game Pass onto Nintendo? Which, if that ever had happened, that would have been like insane.
I think this is all related.
Yeah, so if that, rather than something like trying to gain majority shares of Nintendo or something like that, that could be a really good way in to just try and make some money off all the Nintendo base. Just listen, here's the thing: Nintendo get whatever percent, we get whatever percent. It's on your console. It would do great.
I think that'd be great if it could work both ways, and we could have, Switch getting a lot more games from third party as well. It would be nice. Like, I know they have a lot of third party games, don't they? Or is it just Nintendo first party games on Switch? I don't think it is though.
No, the Switch has like 7,000 games in the store.
Yeah.
It's like the greatest retro machine of all time.
So just more games on the Switch.
Have you seen the clips of the new Mortal Kombat on the Switch? Just someone's going around on Twitter and they're absolutely hilarious.
Yeah,
like,
pretty bad.
Like, again, what you expected is the Switch, but like even keeping that in mind, it's pretty bad. Apparently, it's a janky mess as well, like as in gameplay wise.
Wow. Yeah, it was probably something they shouldn't have bothered with.
It's just getting memed all over Twitter. That's all I saw.
The last leak here in this list of leaks is no Elder Scrolls 6 for a few more years, which that doesn't sound surprising at all with Starfield just after launching, so they're obviously setting their sights on that.
I actually think 2026 is sooner than I would have thought. I was like 2030 in my head.
I think, like, let's talk a little bit about Starfield now, because I think we're going to talk towards the end. Topic of the week is going to be a review of 2023 and the games that have come out. We've had a pretty decent year for games, but with the likes of Elder Scrolls, because I played Starfield and I think it's okay. I mean, John, I think you put it perfectly. It's a Bethesda game, but I just don't think that's good enough anymore. Like, it needs to have some sort of evolution of, okay, it's a Bethesda game, but here's the big, like, say what Rockstar do. They bring something new and exciting to every one of their Grand Theft Auto games, or I'm trying to think of other games that do it, but there doesn't seem to be much evolution in terms of the engine, the way the animations are in the game. They're very kind of samey as they were previously, and they were never brilliant. I think Elder Scrolls need to be a real push in the right direction, and not just be Skyrim 2.
I feel
a lot of people would play Skyrim 2 though. A lot of people would play Skyrim 2.
But call it Skyrim 2 then.
I will also throw the caveat that I understand where you're coming from with Starfield, but I'd have to say, like, I think as a Bethesda fan, I don't really care too much about like the animations not being too much different and stuff. I like the exploration and the stories and talking to the characters, and maybe it's just me. I still get invested in the characters, and there's a whole width and breadth of story in that game that I still get lost in. And I understand, like, all the complaints are justified, but I think there's as much good as was much bad in that game. I do think so.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth playing. Is it going to be Game of the Year? I don't think so, but
no, with Baldur's Gate, I'd say. But
also, if Baldur's Gate doesn't get it, I'm never watching those awards again.
It is actually an extremely strong year. Tears of the Kingdom came out.
Yeah,
guys, we're going to slip into topic of the week if we keep going. Yeah. But that's in terms of Starfield. I'm glad that everyone is enjoying it the way they are. Like, there's a lot of I don't think there's too much in terms of people hating it, But I think there's a lot of people. Well,
There's a lot of slight disappointment.
I think there's a lot of people that are playing it, enjoying it for what it is, and will move on fairly soon after they maybe cleared it. It starts extremely slow. Holy crap! It's a slow start.
I've heard the same thing from like 3 different people where it's like, it's kind of disappointing. It's not as much an advancement as I'd like, but I'm also completely addicted to playing it.
Yeah, granted, I played about 2 hours of it. I find you mentioned exploration there. I find there really is none in terms of I was expecting a No Man's Sky kind of exploration where you can travel to planets, but it seems to be just fast travel.
But it is, and to be fair, like I'm not too shocked by that. And if I could be completely honest, right, I again, we're probably hitting this topic in a week here, but like it's not like I can understand if you were looking for No Man's Sky, you're going to hate this game. If you were looking for Fallout 4 in space, you're going to fucking love this game. Sorry for cursing. That's really it. It's not It's not a space exploration game. It's a single-player, story-driven space game made by Bethesda.
The people that have the biggest problem, people that have the biggest problem with this game that I've been talking to are what's the other game you said?
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky fans.
Yeah.
Just to mention No Man's Sky, that has got a serious boost in player base since the release of Starfield. So
yeah,
there is a game there that if you do want to play an exploration game, that's it's a bit crazy, but fair play to No Man's Sky. Myself and John had some great fun in that game, and
phenomenal game. One of the best, literally one of the best games. It's so good.
I'll come back after a couple of weeks when I have a few more hours in it, and hopefully it does grab me, because I have heard that it gets a little bit more, I don't know what the word is, better as the more you play it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Does any of you feel like Bethesda kind of got stuck in a time hole after Fallout 3 came out?
A time hole? I need the explanation.
I'm like,
oh, do you mean like?
It's like if you look at the old Bethesda games, the jump from Oblivion to Skyrim is huge.
Huge.
Then, but jump from Fallout 3 to now isn't that big.
No, it's not.
Even
it feels
I'd
like
add
Fallout
Skyrim.
3 was the point.
I'd add Skyrim in there as well. It's like Skyrim is Fallout 3 and it's just a different universe.
Yeah, they got to Fallout 3 and not much has advanced since then. I genuinely hope that they realize that they need to make another big jump for Elder Scrolls 6. I think that's
hopefully.
If Bethesda do nothing but stick with their laurels and then upgrade every time there's a new numbered Elder Scrolls game, they'll be okay.
6 times the exploration reference,
what I mean? It breaks my heart.
6 times. Well, that's it. Like, again, the scope of Starfield is fantastic, but you are just fast traveling everywhere. I understand
scope means nothing.
It's empty scope. But that's the thing, though. But like, everyone knew going in that the planets were going to be procedurally generated, right?
Yeah.
That sounds like, but they're like, oh, these procedurally generated planets are kind of shit. It's like, yeah. I don't do that. I don't go to the random planets just to get minerals. I just play the story.
I think
the side quests are fantastic.
I think it's a game that's going to be modded within an inch of its life, and there will be full planets that you can explore, and people will like, because obviously you'll have this space on a planet that you can literally just build, and modders are, I mean, exceptional with some of the stuff that they make. So I'll be interested to see what that game is like when modders, like you said, they're getting their hands on it already. So I'll be excited to see. You can't mod the Game Pass version of the game. I'm right about saying that, yeah?
Well, especially on console, definitely not on console.
No, but even the PC version, you can't do it.
I wouldn't be sure. But they have their own Bethesda mod thing, which is like always behind the actual modding community, and you generally have to pay for stuff, don't you? I don't agree with any of that stuff.
Yeah, it's
funny. It's the modding is the reason I haven't jumped in yet. I'm like, I have it on my Series X, and I started a little bit. I was like, but then I was like, I'm planning a PC upgrade pretty soon. And I was like, I could get this and just put loads and loads of mods on.
Yeah.
I might wait for that, I think.
Speaking of fun, I'm just going to add that in. Like, I mean, it's we're all having fun with Starfield, but yeah, we'll see what it's like. Destiny 2 is another space game, Aiden. What happened this weekend?
So last Friday, there was rumblings that the game had a little glitch going. So Destiny 2 has weapon crafting, where you unlock the frames and you can craft the weapons and level them and choose whatever perks. People discovered that if you clicked on to craft one weapon and then quickly clicked another one before the screen happened, you could put perks from one weapon onto another. So what you could do is put the aggressive shotgun frame onto an auto rifle, and then every auto rifle would fire like 12 shot pellets of full damage at all times.
Wow.
So it turns out Bungie's weapon system is insanely robust, because any weapon in the game can take any perk from any weapon in
That's
any
a good way of
frame.
looking at it.
So people have been messing for days. I currently have a slug shotgun using a sniper rifle barrel, so it's doing like 15 times damage. I just did the newest raid and we one-phased every boss.
Do you think though the Crucible is going to make that get patched? Because that must be nightmare.
Oh,
Crucible.
it's been patched once already.
All
they
right,
don't really know how to fix this. And by
Fair enough.
patching, I mean they've just disabled some stuff. This is like broken at the core of the game. And they're also trying to not do a rollback. So the weapons that people have made that are nuts will have to be fixed as well. So they're fixing stuff and they were like, oh, well, that stuff isn't working. Let's mess with new perks. There's a load of perks that activate upon a reload after a kill. Those perks are insane on bows because every arrow is a reload. Crucible over the weekend was just insta-kill auto rifles. It was literally like 0.02 time to kill. The weekend, it's been so fun. We melted every raid in like 4 hours.
It's like late wipe Tarkov with a load of chads running around.
Yeah, it is. And it's like, I love Bungie. Bungie are always ones to be like, okay, the game's kind of broken, but we're not going to ban anybody. Have fun till we fix it. And it's been so much crack. Weapon combinations. There's a weapon called a trace rifle that fires a constant beam, and how they do it is it fires 1,000 rounds of energy a second.
Obviously,
if you put a grenade launcher frame on that, it's firing 1,000 grenades a second. It's insanely robust. I'm shocked that everything seems to work. There was one. You could also put some exotic perks on non-exotic guns, and so the exotic perk for the Galahorn causes its rockets to explode into 20 Wolfpack rounds. And if you put that on a shotgun, it would do 20 for each of the 12 pellets for the shotgun, and that would crash the game. That's the only thing people have found that would crash the game.
Do you know what's funny though? The reason all these things that you're saying that make you love Destiny is why I love the Binding of Isaac. Because that game is all about synergies. It's all about synergies. Yeah. Like, so what happens if I get Mom's knife with the laser beam or whatever? I'm like, oh, I get a laser of knives, and etc., etc. That's exactly one of the main reasons why I love the Binding of Isaac, is finding all these synergies.
I'm shocked that all these synergies work. Like, it's insane that the stuff that shouldn't work is working perfectly. It seems to be this could be the way Destiny pivots. They have such a robust gun system. If they let people make crazy guns and balance them, it could be so much fun.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they use something that people are finding brilliant?
Yeah,
and controlling it in a way that doesn't break the game.
Yeah.
So how speedrunning works in Destiny is there's a perk for the sword called Eager Edge. That when you switch to your sword and swing, it sends you quite a significant distance in forward. And this is how speedrunning is done in Destiny. So people discovered very quickly you could put 2 Eager Edges on a sword. So the amount of speedrun records that were broke is insane. And now they're now there's a new category that you can never do again for speedrunning, and these people have the records forever.
Nice.
Class.
Yeah, we're calling it the crafting.
The crafting.
This is like, there's been like 6 weekends in Destiny's history that have just been like, can't miss, crazy things happening. There was once we found out a glitch where you could do 12-man raids. That was also incredibly fun. More stuff like this is just great crack. I think tomorrow might be the end of it. There's a major patch coming mid-tomorrow. But hey, they've patched things that hasn't been patched properly before.
Tell me, how did the how did the break come in? How did the bug come in? Was it a new update? Was it a new story mission?
It seems like the bug has been there for 16 months.
Wow.
And just nobody, because it's really awkward to do. Most people have to set the frame rate down to 30, start as many 4K YouTube streams as possible, some downloads, a bit of Twitch, try and slow down your game as much as possible to make it work.
Can it only be done on PC or all across?
On everything.
Nice. Go and get on Destiny 2, guys. Give it a try.
PS5s and
tomorrow.
Series X's are the hardest. PS4s and Xbox Ones is really easy. But you can start Twitch and YouTube in the background on both of those and start a download that can get you slow enough. But yeah, it's been a crazy weekend. It's been so much fun.
Nice.
Awesome.
Having fun.
Yeah, I always say that I'm going to get back into Destiny. My son is asking to download it as well. I think it's free on everything now at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, you get a certain amount of stuff free to play.
Yeah, like it's enough free to get you into the game and then make you want to buy all the rest of it.
If you want a Sherpa for anything, let me know. I've got good people and I'm always willing to help anybody.
Awesome.
That can actually, to be fair, that goes to the whole Republican players community.
Yeah.
If you ever need anything for Destiny, you can always give me a shout.
That could be good for your Twitch content.
Yep.
Deadly. Sherpa, Aiden, at your service. Anyone out there that wants to get into Destiny? I mean, the way you talk about it, Aiden, it makes me want to play it. So I'll definitely just install. I'll have it installed when I get my new hard drive and be ready to rock then. And we might get on for a session or two.
It's my favorite get a group of people together and stuff a game ever.
Like, yeah, I put a lot of time into the first one and a little bit of time into the second one, and I enjoyed my time. I think the gameplay is exceptional. Like Bungie just know how to do good first-person shooter games in terms of their gameplay. So
it's so smooth.
We're coming to the end of the news here, and then we're going to go on to topic of the week, guys. So Activision says the Switch 2's power is akin to PS4 and the Xbox One. I'm after losing that report, so if any of you can bring it up and go through some of the details there.
Yeah, so loads of publishers have been shown the Switch 2 prototype in the past couple of weeks. And yeah, its actual processing power seems to be basically what a PS4 could do, but it has full access to DLSS. Nice. And people have talked that it's actually quite impressive. Remember that Matrix demo that was on the consoles?
Yeah, the Unreal.
It'll run that perfectly.
Wow.
So yeah, DLSS is kind of like magic for graphics.
Yeah.
Well, and what would the first Switch be compared to?
It's just maybe a GameCube, Wii U. Wii U's probably the closest. It's stronger than a Wii U.
Switch is amazing.
It is.
We still have it in the house that's played on a daily basis.
Yeah, a couple of rumors have come out. It's supposed to have 500 gigs of storage at launch. I think I hope. But there's also talk they're going to use the next generation of flash cards, like SD cards.
Yeah. That
are like considerably faster than like a HD, but not quite at what the Gen 5 SSDs that we have in the new consoles are. The Switch is weird. It seems like the Switch is a console that's a kind of opportunistic. The first Switch got made because those screens were on sale and those Tegra chips were on sale. They were like, there was millions of them that they hadn't sold. And they're like, you could probably put a pretty cheap console together with this. And it worked perfectly.
It's a great idea, great concept. Like the TV, well, you know yourself, the two-ways TV or handheld. I think my one, I pretty much nearly exclusively played handheld except for Breath of the Wild. I think that was the only game I actually plugged into my telly.
I played mine mostly plugged in.
My one was a Binding of Isaac machine. I'm not going to lie. It was a great console for the Binding of Isaac, let me tell you.
Yeah. People have been saying they're not exactly sure. It might be a case of DLSS is powered through the dock. So you won't have it for handheld mode because you probably won't need it. And then the dock will beef it up and let it run 4K.
All right.
I love that feature. I think it's just nice to have the option.
I agree. Like I'm not not a huge user of it handheld, but like I went to London, I did some traveling the past while. God, having a Switch is lovely.
Yeah.
Playing Vampire Survivors on a plane, great.
That's the top-down twin stick shooter game. Am I right? in saying
No,
it?
it's a single stick shooter. It's an auto shooter.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
Looks fun.
another game about synergies.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Lies of P came out
EP.
this week actually. Why was everyone calling it Pi? Was that the original name? And they changed it,
because of Life of Pi, and I did it millions of times. The movie,
Okay.
it's so
Right.
it's so close to Life of Pi. Like it's stupid. It's what it doesn't matter. I kept calling it Lies of Pi as well.
Yeah, you weren't the only one.
Pinocchio.
The game came out yesterday, the 19th, and I've watched a couple of streams on it. It looks like a Bloodborne-esque Dark Souls game, and it seems to be doing a pretty good job in bringing those mechanics into a game like this. I seen Dr. Disrespect play it, and he seemed to really enjoy it. I know he doesn't play these games for a long time, but he was giving it a lot of compliments, and it's not like him if he gets frustrated at all, which Bloodborne and Dark Souls games can. He seems to be giving a thumbs up.
He did, but in fairness, he loved Elden Ring as well. He's a fantastic player with Elden Ring. No, I've played a bit of it. I played a little bit of Lies of P yesterday night. I only played a few hours. It's very good so far. It's exactly what you'd expect. It looks like Bloodborne. It's so far. It looks a bit like Bloodborne, but like Bloodborne, if it was set rather than like you're still seeing like neon signs and stuff. So it's not set like back in Victorian times. It's like a decrepit city from the 30s, nearly, we'll say.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like rather than Victorian era. It is cool. The aesthetic is all there. The music so far has been very good. The combat is great. I have only had this weapon to start with. I've legitimately I'm at the the third boss. I'm on my third boss. And I won't lie, he's kicked my arse a few times. He's like, if anyone has played it, he's basically like this English Bobby, big robot. You're like, hello, governor, with the mustache and the big blue hat. And he's like a big kind of like spider robot nearly. And he's kicked my arse a few times, so I'll give him a few more goes. But no, so far it's very fluid. It's a lot more like Bloodborne than any of the rest of them in the sense of the combat as well, because I found myself, you can block, and in Bloodborne, if you lose health, you can attack and gain some back. You can only do that if you block a hit in this game.
Okay.
So only if you block, you can get it back. But I don't block that much. I find myself actually dodging a lot more. And it has a parry, but the parry window is very unforgiving, I find.
I've never got a parrying in Souls games anyway.
I have a bad feeling that this game is going to be. I feel one of my issues with this boss is that I'm not parrying him. Because he's just got a ton of health and his attacks are very hard to dodge. And I've only gotten him down past half health once, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But
did I see your dodge rolls upgradable?
It could be. It's a little bit weird. There could be, because there's like you are upgradable. Like it's a little bit separate. So you have I don't know what you're like. What you can upgrade yourself, but what I mean is there's the level up system like normal with your souls, but also you've parts of you. So like you're just like you can change your kind of body chassis and stuff like, because you're a puppet. Do you know what I mean? So like you have a stronger body, but you're heavier, so you need to up your strength or whatever, so you're not like fat rolling everywhere. And stuff like that, and you have different parts of your body that you can upgrade as well. So there probably is
your arm some sort of mechanism, or like
Sekiro arm.
Sekiro,
they took the arm mechanic from Sekiro.
All right,
so at the moment, all I have is a thing like a scorpion. Get over here. That's what I have. But I know that that's upgradable. So there's all different types of arms. And I went with, at the start, they basically said, do you want to start balanced, dex, or strength? And I actually went with Dex for the crack. So I'm basically this little nippy lad going around with an S stock for all the world, like just poking people. So that's probably why I'm not doing too much damage on this boss either. But the first boss was a pushover. Second boss, he killed me a few times. And this guy is kicking my ass.
Like I'm just reading here, we see P welding everything from shovels, flaming swords, claymores, and even a cannon built into his arm. So there's a lot of customization there, which is always good in those games. You want to try different builds and different ways of working.
From Berserk.
Yeah, and like something that we haven't really, you've mentioned it, but something that I find really interesting is just the story. Like, you play a mechanical version of Pinocchio, you awaken, this is the report here, you awaken in a Bloodborne-esque Gothic city with a note pinned to your clothes that tells you to find Geppetto. Like, that's just such a cool, I don't know, it's
the only
really
puppet that can lie.
The only puppet who can lie, which is why it's called Lies of P.
Yeah, I love that.
Lying is a mechanic in the game.
It is. I've seen that in the stream.
Do you want to lie or don't you want to lie and stuff like that? And it's very interesting so far. I've had the opportunity twice so far, and I've lied twice. So we'll see where that goes for me.
Who develops this game? Anyone know?
It's a South Korean developer. That's all I know.
I think this game is going to do pretty well.
It seems like it's very good so far. It flows very well, and it feels like you know when you get these games, like, I don't want to throw it under the bus, but games like Lord of the Fallen or stuff like that, which obviously is taking what Dark Souls does, but like, it doesn't have the same feel. It's a bit clunkier, or it's a bit this, or it's a bit that. This feels like someone who is a massive fan of Bloodborne, actually, more in particular, is a massive fan of these games, and he seems to, so far, again, I'm about 2 or 3 hours into it, he seems to get the aesthetic and he seems to get the rhythm of the game.
I think that's a really interesting point, John, because there's a line that you can cross. Like, is it a full-on copy of Bloodborne and Dark Souls, or is it using the mechanics in it? And with Lords of the Fallen, I didn't like that game. I thought it was unpolished. It just felt clunky. But then you had, do you remember that game, The Surge, which was, you were in that kind of mech almost. Like, I found that one really interesting because it just changed it up enough that you had the mechanics down, but it just felt a little bit different in terms of, different elements that they added in, upgradable parts on the mech. And with this one, it seems to be the same. So I'll definitely check this one out. And the fact that it's on Game Pass, I have it anyway. So I'll definitely be checking this out. I do like the look of this. I think there was a lot of excitement for this game. And when we first seen it, we were actually talking about it. I remember back a while ago when we seen the first trailer drop. And yeah, we were excited for it then.
As well.
The demo. I never played the demo, actually.
I was saying, you're pretty confident in yourself if you have a demo out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think a demo is good for a game like this that gives people a little taste. And, if they're confident enough, it might end up helping them sell, which is always good.
And Pinocchio looks like stupidly like Timothée Chalamet, which is really weird, and it's a bit distracting. It's very distracting.
How did they get away with using the Pinocchio name and the whole story?
It's an open license now. It's so old.
Okay, wow.
There you go.
Interesting. Marvel Spider-Man's 2 has gone gold. A lot of people excited for that one. I mean, it's the PlayStation's baby, isn't it? Realistically.
It's the thing that the PlayStation has coming that people are most excited for, I'd say.
Yes.
Yeah.
That gameplay trailer from last week looked great. Those gameplays was kind of a mix. The game looks really cool. I love that both Spider-Mans look like they control completely different and have widely different abilities.
And the main things about not the main thing people do is I'll correct myself. I would say it's actually 50-50. It's not just the great gameplay and the exploration and the web slinging and all that, but people love those games for the story. So the story is going to be a massive part of it as well. I think a lot of people are looking forward to it. They have faith in Insomniac in the storytelling department. Maybe
now they move on to Wolverine. Hopefully now that it's gone gold.
Probably. That would probably be the next one, yeah.
I've seen multiple people saying that this new Spider-Man looks like the best Superman game ever made. The addition of the wingsuits look really cool.
Class.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that one. I'll play that one with my eldest Nathan. He adored the first one and loved the. It wasn't DLC, was it? The Miles Morales one?
No, it was like a
game.
Standalone. That was brilliant as well. So I'll definitely be putting that one on the big TV and enjoying that with him.
If I was a
It's
kid when
gorgeous.
that game came out, I would have been
I know.
obsessed with it.
But
Oh, yeah.
even the start of the original, not the first one, where you just literally hop out the window and you're, swinging around the city, like that is unbelievable. It's not the whole getting bit by a spider and getting your powers. It's literally throws you in when you're
Yeah, we all
fully
know the
Spider-Man.
origin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Miles Morales gives you that kind of origin vibe. So I think they've done such a great job with that game. And hopefully we get to see more superhero games from Insomniac in the near future.
I never thought they would make a Spider-Man game that made me feel the same way I played when I played Spider-Man 2 for the first time.
Yeah, it's great.
True.
Like, genuinely, it's like, I couldn't, they did it. It feels like there's fun acceleration to the
Yeah.
twanging. It feels dynamic at all times. Brilliant. Love it.
A lot of fun. Topic of the week, guys. This one was kind of mentioned before the show, but we did want to talk about the year that we've had with games. I'm going to bring up a list. Hopefully I can grab a list of 2023 games. But if you want to just start the ball rolling in terms of what this year has brought, how much of a good year it's been.
Strong year.
Yeah. No, it's
So-
been a very, very strong late year.
Me and John began the year by playing Resident Evil 4 again.
Oh. That was the start of the year.
At the start
Wow.
of the year, I was like, I couldn't believe that. I thought that was last year.
Arguably, I haven't played much of what we're going to talk about, Baldur's Gate 3, but that arguably so far might be the best game I've played this year. But we'll go on anyway. We'll stay going.
Like what? So this year had Resident Evil 4, Tears of the Kingdom came out, Final Fantasy 16 came out, Street Fighter 6 came out,
Zelda.
4 came out.
Did that come out this
Yeah,
year?
Tears-
Zelda?
yeah,
Tears of the Kingdom, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Armored Core came out,
Yeah.
Hogwarts Legacy came out, that new Horizon game came out.
Diablo.
Yep, it's
Yeah.
been a nuts year.
No, it's been a fantastic year for gaming. And it hits so many different communities. So, like, if you're not into some of them, you're definitely going to be into like one of them.
Oh, I was holding back, but it's been an incredible year for JRPGs.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Octopath Traveler 2 came out, Sea of Stars came out. There's been 2 Trails games is coming out. Oh, it's been great.
We're also getting a new...
Silk Song didn't come out.
What didn't come out?
Silk Song.
Silk Song.
Hollow Knight game. Yeah. The new Hollow Knight game.
Yeah.
It'll come out at some stage.
What's the story with that? Delayed?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Like, every single gaming event is. I think they did say a few months ago, like it probably is going to hit a bit of a delay. But like every single game, there's never been like a release date, and every single gaming event, they're like, "This is it." Especially like the Nintendo ones, because it's kind of a switchy game as well. So like, we all know Silk Song will be at this one. It never is.
It never is.
Sam W, thanks for the comment, says first year in a while where it's not all battle royale games. Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No,
what do you call it? That the critical mass of them happened, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
What happened? It was again. It's been years and days have been melded in together. Was Dead Space remake this year? Or was that the end of last year?
Yeah, it was this year.
This year. It's just so many
That
good
game
games
is
this year.
unbelievable.
I haven't played that remake yet, actually.
No, you're right, but like,
Unbelievable.
I've got great
I
reviews.
love the original.
The graphics are exceptional, and yeah, Dead Space is one of the best games ever made.
There has been one Battle Royale game out this year. The AW Fight Forever game has a Battle Royale mode in it. It's really silly and fun looking. I haven't played it yet.
No, it was crazy. As you were saying, we started off sure. Resident Evil 4 remake, phenomenal. I love the hell out of it. I'd say I cleared
Might
it
be
about
my
3 or 4
favorite
times.
remake of a game ever made.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The original Resi 1 remake on the GameCube was pretty good. It was the GameCube, wasn't it?
I
Yeah.
love 2, Resi 2, but it's my favourite, so I'm going to be biased against it.
No, Resi 2 remake is very, very, very good.
It's also
and
incredibly good.
It's a tough one for me, but I think the Resi 4 one, just for me, takes it. Remake. It was a lot of fun.
I think 4, the way they changed it, they changed the stuff that was good to be changed, and they kept the spirit of the game completely intact.
They got rid of the stuff that was a slightly too. They got rid of the giant robot. A lot of people weren't happy about that.
It's such a clunky bit, though. If you play it,
Yeah, it's so
plays
terribly.
terribly.
I know. They got rid of most of that, like that whole like like hit the sticks and stuff like that to get away from stuff. And I can understand all that. Yeah, everything they got rid of, I think I don't miss.
No. It became a more
Ashley's
streamlined game.
Ashley's way better. She's still annoying as all hell. I was still giving out to Ashley so much, but she's no way as bad as she is. Because you don't have to heal her. You remember in the original, you had to heal Ashley every time she got
I'm
hit.
level up her health.
You're wasting my freaking herbs. But now, thank God they got rid of that mechanic. That's one. Thank God they got rid of.
Giving yellow herbs to Ashley always felt terrible.
But no, that was very good. What about you folks?
Baldur's Gate has really kind of taken over my life the last couple of weeks, and I mean, a game comes around for me once in a blue moon that I kind of just sit back and appreciate that a developer out there is doing something just different, and the effort that's put into that game, the voice acting, the cutscenes. Like, it's the first time I think I played one of those RPGs where I don't feel at any time that there's wasted time on the screen for cutscenes, for exploring. To me, it's game of the year anyway. Like, and I never thought before playing it that I'd say that. I still have to put a lot of time into Starfield, which I will, and then make the decision on throughout. And I like in fairness,
Starfield's taking it.
No, in fairness, we have to kind of think of Zelda as well. That's always going to push it as well.
Zelda's a good shout. Zelda is a genuine shout for game of the year. Like,
definitely.
Just the fan base, how the game was received. Like, that was so well received that Tears of the Kingdom.
I just think with the way, like, I played the Divinity Original Sin games, and those games are exceptional. But Baldur's Gate 3 brings it up
such a level above,
and like crazy amount of effort put in compared to those games previously, and they were no slouches. And I just feel like the developer. And this may change in a few years when the corporate kind of greed sets in, but at the moment they are CD Projekt Red when they release The Witcher 3. They are, they should be put on a pedestal.
They're from after they put out Bloodborne.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they should be really appreciated. And the whole kind of early access with the game and trying to make it as polished as possible. Like, for a game that has so many systems, and it is quite difficult to get into. I'm not, like I said before, a massive D&D fan, but after playing 40, 50 hours of it, I understand why people love D&D now. Like, I want to start up a campaign with a couple of mates. I want to,
know all the rules now.
Yeah, I know all the rules, and it's just like some of the moments in it where it's not make the decision and that's what's going to happen. It's make the decision and you get a dice roll, and sometimes it doesn't work out. And it made me appreciate the movie even more, because there is them parts in the movie, and you mentioned this I think last week or the last time we were on the show, is things don't work out perfectly, and for some reason or some way the game just rolls with it and allows you to take that as part of your story. It doesn't feel like a game where I have to tick every box, one of these open world games. It feels like a game where, like, leveling up even is a massive thing. Like, I think the level cap is level 12. Every level you get just feels like you become so much more powerful than the previous level. Yep.
That's the reason it's capped at 12 is you get so much stronger after level 12 that they didn't know how to balance the game.
I love it. I have to say, I like, my hat's off. I love it.
Feels like an ancient Roman sculpture.
Yeah.
It's something you look at, like, so much perfect work made into crafting this perfect piece of art.
Yeah.
It's just the tactics and like, I love every element about it. There's not one part I'm like, oh, I hate this. Like, my favorite role in the game is to play a rogue and sneak around the edge of the battlefield and just pick off guys from the shadows. But it just allows you to have all of that because you're controlling 4 characters. At the moment, I have actually 2 campaigns. One with there's 3 of us playing, and another there's 2 of us. And the 2 of us have got to the end of Act 2. We're on a really difficult boss, which I have read that you don't even need to fight him. There's a way around, getting them to submit and give up, but it's mind blowing.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
spec charisma and talk your way out of almost any situation.
We were
Yeah,
thinking
yeah,
about doing like a pacifist monk run and seeing as a possible.
Monk bard, you'd need a bard.
Monk bard, yeah, there you go. But it's
just for the high charisma, and bards are so good at talking.
it's
Like I want to run a solo bard campaign and see how far I can get.
I think the bard would be an interesting one, definitely. It's phenomenal, like that's all I'll say. I think anyone out there that has any interest in any CRPGs or even just even if you're not into those games and you just want a game that has so much effort put into it and so much love and care and everything is crafted from the ground up, just give it a go. I like, even if you don't get it, and like I said, it is difficult to get the rules at the start and what way combat works, but just do a little bit of reading about it and you'll find that
Push people off cliffs.
Yeah, push people off cliffs.
There you go.
It's a masterpiece.
It's so broken.
Another element, and I thought this would happen as well, is you start off, and this is not really spoiler because this happens in every RPG game ever. You start off in this nice, wilderness, and there's loads of animals, and the more and more you go into the acts, the bigger the hell that surrounds you. Like it's,
Yeah.
I'm in a place now that I never want to go back to, but we need to get out of it, and
it's only going to get worse.
I well believe it. But it's exceptional. That's what I'm playing mostly. It took my time away from Tarkov, and it takes a lot just after Wipe to take my attention away from Tarkov. But I'm glad it has, because it's exceptional. Aidan, jump in, because I'm.
I want to highly recommend Sea of Stars.
Yes, good. I've been looking at this.
Is lovely. Sea of Stars, for anyone who doesn't know, it's a game that is almost a direct homage to both Chrono Trigger and the Super Mario RPG series. And it's just really nice. It has some of the nicest sprite work I've seen in a long time. The writing is very solid. The story is one of those, that's interesting, intriguing moments right off the gate. You're like two warriors, one born during a full moon, one born during an eclipse. Or something. Your solstice warriors, one has sun powers, one has moon powers. And just stuff happens. You have to hunt down evil things and stuff happens. But the game, it's not very long. It's like 20, 25 hours long. The combat is really cool. It's one of the really cool system I've not seen in JRPG combat before, where when an enemy gets ready to do an ultimate attack, you get blocks on top of his head, and it'll be either a sword for slashing damage, a club for bludgeoning damage, and then icons for all the different elements that are in the game. And if you can, every time you hit with one of those, you knock off one of the blocks. If you can knock them all off, you stun the enemy and you get another round. And
Nice.
that makes for really interesting tactical combat. There's times you're like, I have 2 attacks to try and work in like 6 different attacks. And you're like, okay, well, this combo might be able to hit 3 of them. And if I time the button press correctly, it'll double hit. So I might get 4 in. And then the next character I can try and get 2. And it's just like boss battles, because the boss has a lot of health. You're like, if you can't get these combinations down, you can have some serious trouble. And then there's times they troll you and the combinations are impossible.
Well, it can't always work out. You have to take your hits sometimes, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm throwing up some gameplay here as well. It looks gorgeous.
Oh, it's gorgeous. The sprites have little like tiny animations where things happen. It's like really nicely drawn. Story's really fun. It's one of those weird things, like you're the 2 heroes, and because you were whisked away to a magic fighting academy at the age of 8, and you get out when you're like 16, you have no social skills at all. So your old best friend's like, oh, I'll travel with you, and he has to talk to people because you're 2 like brutes that can't talk to people.
I've seen a little bit of fishing in there. I'm in.
There's a good fishing mini game. Every new area has its own pond with like a tick box of the fish for you to catch. And it's an active fishing game. Like when you're fishing, you hold A and like it'll reel it in. But there's like a current that moves over and back. And if you can keep it in the current, then the line doesn't break. But if it goes outside the current, the line will break.
I might need something like that after the 50th time that stupid English Bobby robot plows me into the ground. I might need something to relax me a little bit.
It's a lovely chill time. My housemate, who doesn't generally like turn-based combat at all, saw me playing and was like, that looks like a really nice time, and ended up downloading it. Now he's playing it as well.
It looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't really. You guys will get this because obviously you're gamers and you know exactly when I say it. But what I love in games, especially retro style games like this, is when they take a retro style and they add something that would not be possible, you know, back in the day. Like I seen there, like there was a massive dragon and it blows out fire and there's all these particle effects. I think Shovel Knight is a great example of it as well. It just I know
Octopath Traveler,
Octopath, even the one that you mentioned earlier on, John, Hollow Knight. Like I know that the graphics and that are a little bit more updated, but I just love when it feels like it's from the past, but it's got these new mechanics that, you know, kind of almost like improve the gameplay somewhat, but still pay homage to the old style.
Yeah, agreed.
That looks good.
I love when you see like what modern artists can do with like a sprite.
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
And they just come out so nice.
Yeah.
And again, like how they created those sprites back in the day was so much more work. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like, obviously we have such easier tools.
Draw
so
a pixel.
Hats off to all those people who made like incredible stuff back in the day as well.
Yes, 100%. I mean, they were limited back then, and they still had some amazing games.
That thing you were saying, Ronan, I will always think of the water effects in Octopath Traveler.
Yeah,
that game has like real sprites, and then the water looks like it's from a modern AAA.
Yeah, it's that blend that just gets me every time. I'm like, that is just gorgeous. It's almost like older retro art mixed with new modern art. It's brilliant. Like every game that does it, everything that does it is just, it always catches me. Sam in the chat says AST Libra is a pretty good 2D game, not turn-based, but very fun adventure scroller. Never heard of that one. Let's bring it up. AST. You didn't hear this one, no?
No, I'm pretty sure what that stands for. AST Libra Revision. That's one word.
AST Libra. Oh yeah, this looks cool. Why am I getting half screen when I bring up a video? Give me
this seconds. Looks like that. What do you call that game for the SNES where you build a city? ActRaiser. This looks like ActRaiser.
Yeah, that looks fun as well. There's another game, Dragon's Crown. Does that look a little bit like that?
Do you
remember that one? Dragon's Crown? I think it was like Nintendo, wasn't it?
I haven't played this at all. This
looks cool. Yeah, cheers for a recommendation. Anyone else have any recommendations for the year we've had? It's been
so many JRPGs to play.
It's been exceptional.
Yeah.
I have Trails of Azure is out and I haven't played it yet, and then there's the new Trails game is out in like a month's time.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
There. In fairness, I enjoyed my time with that. Like
that's fixed now.
Atomic Heart. Those games I completely forgot existed.
Atomic Heart. That was that weird kind of BioShock game, wasn't it?
That's the game where it looked like it was going to be crazy, crazy cool, but it seemed to something kind of happened with it. People seem to turn off it very quickly.
It starts crazy, crazy cool. My housemate finished it, and he's like, "But then this game was a slog."
Yeah, that's because I ended up not playing it because it was on Game Pass, so I was excited about it. But then I ended up just not playing it for some reason.
One of those games where all the cool ideas were in the trailer.
Yes, and I'm just about to say that I'm playing the trailer now, and it does look pretty cool.
Freaking game. I play most Souls-likes when they come out, but I never actually played this one. Wo Long Fallen Destiny, if anyone remembers that.
Yeah, it was the Monkey King, or wasn't it? You played?
No, that was a different one, right?
That's
that was
Enslaved Voids to the West.
Yeah, no, this one is the one. It was almost looked like Sekiro. You were like a samurai. Remember there was a demo out for it, Roland? You had to fight
Wo Long.
Yeah. That was out this year. I just never played it, and it's like a Neo.
It's a Team Ninja game.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really good. I just never. There's so many games out this year.
I do remember this cover.
It's one of the that's the kind of game I would get. I just never did.
Yeah.
some crazy
Oh.
crazy games to get through. It's good to see
And then-
because it's been a little bit of a lackluster couple of years. I know we've had exceptional games, but I don't think we've had this amount of games in 1 year in quick
I think
succession.
so, yeah, I agree. 2023 has been
Yeah.
pretty excellent.
And it kind of came out of nowhere. And I think the reason is because when you watch all the presentations of these games, you just think, it'll be a few more years, but everything just kind of hit all at once this year.
Yeah, those
and-
few more years all seem to be 2023.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, we forgot about the most important game of 2023. Forspoken.
Oh, for Spoken. That didn't. We weren't spoken about that really well.
I think one of my favorite moments I've ever had in this podcast was when we were watching Forspoken get announced, and we're like, "That's the worst name I've ever heard."
Yeah, we were making fun of that game before it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam, we were talking about Starfield at the start, but let's talk a little bit about Starfield because that's the big news story.
Yeah.
Big kind of one in the news. A lot of kind of, I suppose, mixed opinions on it, but
it's mixed opinions. But like, I can completely understand where people are coming from because people were expecting maybe it is probably Bethesda's fault, but like again, these aren't to defend Bethesda, but if you believe everything that man says, what's his name? My name's drawing a blank at the moment.
Todd. Yeah.
If you believe everything that man says, then I have a freaking
Todd the liar. How?
I know it's disgraceful to be honest.
He's up there with what's his name? Molyneux, freaking Peter Molyneux, is it? The guy, another man who's famous for promising a lot of things that are not going to happen. So he did oversell the game, but that's kind of what he does. But I still think it's a phenomenal game. I know exactly who don't like. It's the people that wanted to get into a spaceship and fly around and land on random planets and explore it, and then find stuff and be like, "Oh, that's cool. That's completely cool." But I wanted to go and do the story and do like the side missions, and like I'm exploring the curated content, the stuff that isn't procedurally generated, and I'm doing all the side missions, doing all that. I'm flying around in space, I'm getting into space battles, I have my contraband, I have all that, and I'm having a great time. Now, if I can understand the people who don't like, but like, so I can't actually fly to the sun. And then the people who are like flying in a straight line for 40 minutes going, if this was completely like one big massive universe, then I'd be able to fly to the sun. And it's like, no, it's a fast travel screen, okay?
The biggest problem Bethesda has is No Man's Sky came out.
That's what I was going to say. In saying that, I totally understand that, you're not going to build a universe that's going to be open world. But was there not better ways of doing it rather than the whole? Because that's the one thing I've seen in like a couple of streams, and I've experienced it myself, where could there not just been a more interesting way of getting from place to place without the loading screen? I just think it's it's a kind of a cheap way of doing it. And exactly what Aidan said, No Man's Sky can do it with a tiny team. I know it took a couple of years to get there, but surely Bethesda can do it.
It's been in development for like 8 years.
And I do, again, it's a perfectly good argument. But what I will say is as well, I guess I'm just playing Fallout 4 in space. And to be honest with you, even if it was the fact that I could go and fly into space and actually fly, but like, okay, it's going to take me 2 minutes to fly to this planet. I'd probably do that 3 times, and then I'd fast travel all the time.
It's true.
I'd fast travel all the time.
It's true.
Because when I fast travel, I'm like, grand, I got the thing. Now I need to hand it into year 1 because it's a Fallout game. And I just fast travel straight to her.
That's a fair point.
I think if they forced you to fast travel into space and then fast travel straight to the thing every single time, that would kill me, I suppose. But you don't even have to. Most of the time, you can just you can be standing on the planet and fast travel to another planet if you've already been there. You don't even need to bother with the blasting off into space.
What do you mean if you've already been there? So how do you get there originally, sir?
You would possibly have to. You can warp. So say you're in space, and then you're in the right galaxy, right? And you're your mission marker is pointing at this planet. You have to like point at the planet, and then you like get close to it, and then you do a map scan, and then you go, I want to land here where the objective is, and then you do a landing animation. That's all tedious, but I get it because it's the same as, see, that's the difference. That's why Skyrim works better, because Skyrim, you walk there and you go, you hop over the mountains and you're exploring while you go. That's tough to do in empty space. If you want to just have to go there all the time in empty space, that's going to be pretty fucking boring. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. And I understand you're like, oh, No Man's Sky. But No Man's Sky, we fast travel a lot in No Man's Sky as well. And we go to places for reasons. We mine things in space. Like, we generally, and like, we're not in space too much in No Man's Sky. For me personally, I'm usually on the ground mining stuff, building my base, going from one place to the other. And also, they're two completely different games as well.
But there's massive comparison there. And I think it's the way Todd Howard had built this up with his marketing, with his, lies of Todd, we'll call it. There just seemed to, like, I get worried when Todd is way too excited about his game. It's like, this is not going to be the case. Like, there's going to be, and then he dialed back a little bit towards the end. He said, not every planet is going to have, you're not going to be able to walk around planets, which is fair enough because it's going to be impossible. But why have it such a large scale, procedurally generated, where it's just lots of empty space? Why not have it like stupid. Less planets, more stuff to do?
I'm having, but I have decided to do that. I don't deal with that shit. You don't need to go to those planets at all.
Is there planets that there's nothing on it? Like,
no. Every planet is procedurally generated. So we'll say over here is a random place, cave with enemies that you can fight and get some weapons and resources. Over here is a place you can sell items, and over here is something else, right? It's all procedurally generated. There's probably about 10 instances of stuff you can find, right? They're all fucking miles away from each other. It's an absolute headache going from one to the other to the other.
Can you drive or do you have to walk?
There's no driving. You have to walk.
You have vehicles.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, right? Do you know why I love Starfield? Because I don't land on those planets or do any of that.
Yeah,
I'm 50. I'm probably like 40, 50 hours into the game, and I'm just following the story missions. I'm following all the side missions. The side missions are great. I'm going to the curated stuff. That's like not procedurally generated. It's like, this is the factory that because that's what they're really good at. They're really good at making vaults. They're really good at making side stuff that you go in.
That's true.
And it feels like it's lived in. It feels like there's a story, and you get all the logs. It's when you ignore all that space bullshit, and I know it sounds stupid, it's Fallout 4 in space. That's what it is, and that's what it feels like.
Would it have been better if they just did Fallout 5?
Possibly. Some people do love the space stuff. Like I do like flying, and I like doing the space battles and stuff. It is cool, and like I do have contraband and like finding. I have found stuff. Now there was one time I actually found stuff with cool stuff going on, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I thought this was all procedurally generated, but then it turns out I had actually found a place I was supposed to come to later in a side mission. Randomly, so that's why it felt more created, because it was. I just wasn't supposed to find it yet.
Because I'm going to ask you kind of as if I didn't play it. Any interesting characters that are memorable, or
kind of like, again, like
it's just like the kind of soulless. Like obviously in Skyrim you meet some interesting characters, and Fallout you do, but a lot of the side questy people are soulless, and
that's not like really new though.
No, but that's the point, John. It should be, there should be a level of care added to, not even a level of care, but just a kind of a step forward to what they're doing. But it's been 8 years.
I would kind of miss Bethesda NPCs if they didn't have them.
Yeah.
I'm
saying like
there's a charm to it.
Skyrim is still a phenomenal game, and it's about as much depth as you get with a Skyrim character. And Fallout are some phenomenal games. It's about as much depth as you get with Fallout characters.
The only thing I'll say about Skyrim and Fallout is the amount of mods that you can put on characters to make them, to change their look, voice acting. Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Two bears high five.
Give it a week.
The bottom line is, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I think there's a lot of people out there that are enjoying the game. I can't give my full opinion on it because I've only played it for a short time. I will play it when I'm finished Baldur's Gate.
Don't land on random planets and run around for no reason, and you'll be fine. And if you want to go, if you want a game where you actually go around and explore the cosmos, don't buy this game. Get No Man's Sky.
Just download No Man's Sky again.
That's not what this game is. It is, but it does it really, really bad.
Okay.
I love that this game has reminded people that No Man's Sky exists.
I know. Like, I'm just going to bring up the No Man's Sky.
Now, having said that, story-wise and like that kind of stuff, Starfield has No Man's Sky beat 10 times over.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is the mainline story better than Fallout 4's?
I'm actually liking it. There's a lot of like lore and like stuff that you're like learning about the old wars and stuff, and I'm kind of into the story. I will.
That's always been my favorite my biggest problem with Fallout 4 was like Fallout 4 was a really cool, well-crafted game. God, that main story sucked.
No, I like it. It's basically like a load of wars happened in the end, in the past for different reasons, and the whole kind of there's like a collective getting together, and it's like all the different people, even though they don't really like each other, they're all kind of together to make sure this shit doesn't happen anymore. I suppose a bit like the UN, but in space. And then but then there's people who are like, no, we want to fight this, and there's all different factions, and I find it interesting. I will say, if I wasn't paying attention, I'd be lost into what was going on. But like I've kind of paid attention to the story. I've heard that as a complaint. A lot of people are saying that they're like, I don't even know what's going on. Who is this lad? And it's like, well, no, he's Freestar. Freestar fought in the war, but then they kind of got screwed over by the space UN. So now they're kind of, and they're like, oh, I don't know. It's like, it was explained to you once by this NPC character. What, did you not listen?
Guys, the bottom line is it's a brilliant year to be a gamer. It's a brilliant year to spend all your money on video games, whether you want to...
New Forza's coming.
I was actually going to mention that. I had it up on the list here. New Forza Motorsport. It's coming out next month, is it? It's very close anyway.
Alan Wake 2's coming. Spider-Man 2's coming. Oh, great.
So yeah, it's a great year to be a gamer. We are going to leave it there. I want to thank the guys for joining us. It was not a last minute kind of setup, but we've all been really busy. Shout out to Paddy as well. He's preoccupied tonight looking after a family member, so hopefully everything is good there, and we'll be back next week. Same time, same place. We were doing it on a Thursday. We're going to get back and doing it on a Wednesday because I think that suits everyone a little bit better. And if you do like the content, please hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel as well. We're trying to build up to that 1,000 sub mark. And yeah, we'll see you next week, and have a great weekend and enjoy whatever game you're playing. See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.